7:15, we'll call the meeting to order. First is our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our roll call.
Okay, Miss Bollenbacher.
Here.
Mr. Chandler? No.
Here.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Miss Compatello?
Here.
Mr. Marks?
Here.
Mr. Oliverio?
Here.
Miss McCalnick?
Here.
Mr. Radilla?
Here.
Mayor Perry?
Here.
Solicitor Corbel?
Here.
And today we're gonna change this out for Engineer Keenan
Here.
and myself. Thank you.
All right, great. All right, consent agenda. We have the council meeting minutes from November 9th, the bill list from November 30th, and the November 9th BAPS calendar and gateway bills have been included. October reports are the manager's report, the budget, updated bond sheet, treasurer's report, three treasurer's reports, JTS or Jordan tax collection, the police report, EMS, engineer's report, code enforcement, and building inspection from various months. So these were all uploaded to the OneDrive for review by council. And we need a motion to approve the November 30th, 2023 consent agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Marks,
Second.
Ms. Bollenbacher, any questions on any of the reports?
Are we good? So this is all the gateway bills and stuff that we're like all caught up on those now. I know we held it on a couple.
Yes, I need some more clarification on some of the bills, and those have all been provided. The BAPS calendar bill was actually just missing additional 2 pages that were uploaded, and those were uploaded.
Cool.
Any other questions for discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Do we have anybody signed in?
No names on the list. Nobody signed into Zoom.
All right, very good. Okay, President's report. I have 2 items. The first one is our reorganization meeting. So what that is on January 2nd, the gavel goes over to the mayor and all of the new council members are sworn in. And then whether their terms expires or the ones that were just elected. And then there's an election for the president, vice president, president pro temp, and the approval of all of the majority of our vendors, which include our solicitor, plus our advertisement like the Post Gazette, all of those things. There's a long list. We'll all be informed of that. We're required to have that meeting on the first Monday of the new year. However, Monday's January 1st, so they're allowing it to be January 2nd, which is a Tuesday.
They actually require it to be January 2nd if it falls.
Oh, that's right. You're right. So that will be on Tuesday. So that is outside of our council meetings. That's a reorganization meeting. So we vote on all those things and then the meeting's done. Now we can pick a time for that. Typically, we would need our magistrate to come in and swear people in if it was a new mayor, but our mayor's between terms, so we won't have to meet for that. So I just wanted to get some thoughts and discussions around what time for that day, and that would be a meeting that we would have to all attend, and we have to advertise that too. Any thoughts on the time? Because it doesn't have to be the 7:15 if we don't want it to be, or it can be if that's good with schedules.
I can do as early as 4:30. That helps
4:30?
at all.
Okay.
I think 7:15 works perfectly fine.
Okay. What about that?
4:30 or any time after that,
Okay.
fine.
Same here.
I'm good all day.
Okay. Mayor, you're the important one.
Whenever you tell me, I'll be here. Maybe we should check with our new council person as well.
You're good? Okay, okay, good. All right, so Vince, you can't make any. Oh, you're okay. Oh, okay. All right. I think many.
Did we hear from Colton? Is he
Yeah,
able to?
I think he said okay too. So it sounds like anytime is okay. Several people may have off that day too because of the holidays. So I think we have to be conscious of the public to make sure that the public can attend. So anything probably after 5. Does anybody want to throw out a time or?
I like 5.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm good with 5.
5 works.
5 works for me.
Oh, okay. Oh, because you have to attend. Okay. Oh, okay.
Most are keeping it around the regular time, so if you go
Okay.
5.
Okay. Okay.
5 should be okay, but I work, so it should be okay.
Okay. No? Should we vote to have you be off that day?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take. They voted, he's off. It's off, that's right.
Well, then, you want me to write in the. Yeah, please do. No.
So we'll say 5 o'clock for the reorg meeting? Okay. All right, great, so 5 o'clock, and we will have to advertise that, obviously, and that'll work with Steve. Okay. Great.
And I would just like to mention, for those who have to be sworn in or re-sworn in, we will need a affidavit from and then during the meeting, you'll be sworn in with an oath of office, you can talk to us about that. Pam, and Kirsten, you have to do it again too, I think.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Susan, and Mike.
Okay, great.
And
Right, and I think that affidavit, does that need to be notarized?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And the magistrate is
Yeah.
always happy to do that.
And Carissima can
Oh,
also
okay,
notarize
cool.
folks. So if you come into the borough office or if you go to the magistrate's office, you can get it notarized. It's just a simple form saying that you live where you live.
now, is the borough office open that day?
I think so, but I'm not, actually, no,
Right,
no, because Monday is the holiday. Yes, it'll be open that
Okay,
day. Yep.
okay,
Yep.
just to make sure, you may want to get it notarized now.
Ahead of
Or-
time.
Yeah, way ahead of time. Any questions on the reorganization meeting at all? Okay. The other item I wanted to bring up was December 28th. So we have our next council meeting is December 14th. The 28th is the last week in the month. And traditionally, if we've passed the budget and everything, we cancel that meeting. So I wanted to get thoughts. We do have to advertise if we cancel, and we can include that in the reorganization meeting too. Any thoughts? Now, I think we can wait till the 14th to cancel it.
That's a question for the solicitor.
You could cancel it up to the day of.
The
You
day,
just have
okay.
to put a notice out. You could do Savvy Citizen, you could post on the door.
Right, we don't have to advertise it. We just have to post it.
You just have to post that you canceled it, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we can either vote now or wait until the budget, which is at the next meeting on December 14th.
Wait for the budget to pass,
Okay.
cancel it if we're in the green there.
Okay. Is everybody else okay with that? Okay. That concludes my report. Mayor's report.
Well, I'm just glad to report that the borough seems to be in one piece when I got back from being gone for almost 2 weeks. Also that it is the end of No Shave November, so many of our officers should be coming to work tomorrow, clean shaven, and with their money for the Cancer Society.
I just want to ask, did we take pictures of them and today?
No, the chief did not want to have that happen.
All right. Solicitor's report. Mr. Corbel.
Thanks. First one to announce that council will be having an executive session following the meeting to discuss property matters as well as to receive the advice of the solicitor. And then the Sunshine Act agenda amendments. I think I touched on that at the last meeting, but just to reiterate that there was a case that came down a few weeks ago now that changed the way that occurs. There used to be the ability to basically add anything upon a vote of council, but that isn't the case anymore. It has to fall into certain categories that it's de minimis. It doesn't involve contracts or spending money, et cetera, or it's something along those lines that's brought to your attention from the public during public comments. So I'm just advising everyone to, just really pay attention to the agenda and make sure that even if something would come up over the weekend, try to post an updated agenda if you're able to. For you all, it doesn't really apply because your meetings are on Thursday, but I have other clients that have Monday meetings, and that's what my advice was to them. So just have to focus on it and try not to make a mistake or forget something, because there's really not a method to put it on now. I have heard that there's the anticipation that case will be appealed, but based on the timelines for that, we will probably be living with this for up to a year. So, all right, thank you. That's the end of my report.
Any questions on that at all? We've done this a couple times this year where we've added or amended the agenda, and unless it was de minimis or met the 3 criteria, we will not be able to do that anymore. All right, managers report.
Okay, thank you. Just a reminder, the schedule for the budget process. Today was the last workshop. What we will be scheduled for the workshop in December, on December 14th, basically to ask any that have any questions that maybe the public has about the budget. It did get advertised today in the Post Gazette, and it was announced on Savvy Citizen, and it's on our website, so you can go download the budget and take a look through it at your leisure. Any comments will have to be provided by December 14th or at that meeting. If you would like anything changed or addressed at that meeting, and then the plan is hopefully to pass it at that meeting at this time. And that is it for my report today.
Great. There is a manager's report on the council drive for all of council to review. Right, standing committee reports, finance and administration, Ms. Perry.
So I'm going to ask the manager to discuss the fee schedules. I think you have the information.
I do. Yes, thank you. So these are resolutions that are passed every year, updating fees, updating wages, and then we also have the millage rate resolutions. That would be an ordinance if we were changing the tax rate, but we're not. So it is not. It's a resolution. In the case of the fee schedule changes, they have been placed on the OneDrive as well. So I urge you to go take a look at those so that we can actually approve them at the next council meeting. The only changes that were made to the fee schedule were adding the ability to rent the community room weeks at a time. So if you wanted to do a series of classes or something like that, which was asked of me right after I started in January. So we created a schedule for that. And so please go and look at those amounts, and we have amounts for residents and for non-residents. And we would like to, we also can pass these resolutions anytime through the year. So if we need to update them or change them, that is able to be done, because there is a plan to refurbish the 2 meeting rooms so that they can also be put for rental. I did not include those prices yet because I frankly don't know how much it's going to cost us to do the renovation, and then what is the going rate for room rentals. And I would like to do the same thing in that case, which is allow for one-time rentals and then also allow for periodic rentals as well. So those are the only significant changes to the fee schedule. And the wage schedule has not been addressed yet. So that has not been uploaded. And John and I'd like to talk to you about that, and we can address that. If we don't address it at the December 14th meeting, we can address it either at the reorg meeting or the first meeting in January.
Okay, thank you.
What, the fee schedule, I did not see it on the OneDrive.
I'll have to double check. I thought it was there. If it's not, I'm not sure that it gets added.
Okay, and then the next item is just duplicative of what we've already said.
All right, very good. Community Services and Infrastructure, Ms. Compatello.
Okay, well, this committee has not had a committee meeting since our last council meeting. Because they are once a month. So I just have some standing updates on items this month. The Broadhead project, we've been giving regular updates on. There is no new update on that project. Still proceeding with just work to be done to get ready for a bid to go out. As of our last meeting, we talked about trying to get some easements needed to proceed with that project. So no substantial updates there, but it's still moving forward. The multi-municipal zoning project update. The steering committee has been meeting regularly on that. The steering committee has completed a full review of the calibration table, which is the current name for what our consultant is calling their draft, as well as the steering committee has also completed its input on the draft map. That went to the Planning Commission, who met this week. They met yesterday. They met Tuesday of this week. So the Planning Commission reviewed that information and will have given their feedback. The consultants will be working on that. And we're planning a public outreach session for January. So we don't have dates for that yet, but more information to come soon because we will be doing some public engagement to get the public involved and give updates, share the status of some of the zoning calibration tables. It's a pretty detailed process. There will still be a few more steps in that. We'll have some public engagement coming in January, and then the consultant will be finalizing. There will be public review before it gets formally voted in. We're aiming for summer to have it completely done by summer. Any questions? I know that's a big one. The pool bathhouse, the demolition is complete. The plumbing and the electrical components that need to be installed under the concrete floor have largely been installed. Minor update there. The Public Works building also, we're reassessing the remaining plans and work needed to complete the Public Works building and determine the best path forward. So we'll have more updates on that in January. The stairs project, we're working to schedule the pre-construction meeting with the county and the contractor for the Belvedere work. The rest of the stairs were reassessed and redesigned at the engineer's expense and will be sent out to bid by the end of the year. So just a reminder there as well for context, we had a bid out for 5 different stair reconstruction projects earlier this year. And when the bids came back in, we only awarded 1 of them. The prices had gone up substantially, so we are putting the other 4 back out to rebid. So that's expected by the end of this year. The trail planning grant, I expect there will be interest in this. I know trails have been a big discussion point in this community since we did our Parks Master Plan. We have gotten a trail planning grant. We talked about this at our last council meeting, and we'll be setting up a steering committee for people interested in being involved in that planning effort. So if we do have residents who are interested in being on that steering committee, please email Larry Keenan, our new borough engineer, if you're interested in trails and interested in guiding that effort. That work is anticipated to begin in 2024. And Larry's email and phone number are also posted on the borough website now. If you call the borough and ask to be transferred, I'm sure they'll do that. His extension is 16. And then the consent order agreement next steps. We talked a bit about this with council at our last council meeting as well. And we'll have more information to come in January. But our consent order states that Crafton is required to provide preliminary plans for final projects we need to ensure our compliance with the consent decree. This has to do with our amount of stormwater and the amount of stormwater that we are using within the borough. This is all part of the work we've been doing with Alcosan.
And I can provide one update that just happened yesterday on that.
Okay.
As a part of this, our consent agreement, we have to provide DEP with a letter by next week saying what projects we're going to work on. I talked to Rick yesterday about this, and he was Rick Minsterman, our engineer from Gateway, and we discussed the possibility of so there's 2 options we have, and that is go forward with a letter with an incomplete set of projects that are really more in the concept phase, which is not what they're looking for. They want a detailed list of exactly what we're going to do. So we would basically be knowing that we're putting out a letter that is not really what they're looking for. The other option is to ask for an extension. And that is the direction I advised him to go in, for two reasons. One is I don't want to, send something up that's not complete. The second is I don't want the engineers to spend time working on on answering the questions in a detailed way when we know that that's probably not the direction we're going to go. So in order to save some funds and to be more honest about where we're at with things, and apparently he did confirm that everybody else who's been asking for extensions have got them. We are still going to work in earnest towards our goal as if we weren't given an extension. And we will be providing, hopefully applying for GROW grants. The goal is to apply for those by March. So that's the goal.
That seems like a good step forward. This council has not had a chance to look at any of the options that the engineers have been putting together. The engineering committee did talk about this at our last engineering meeting earlier in November, but they're still working through options. And our intent was to come with some more advanced and some more tailored choices to council in January or so. So it seems to make sense to do an extension and acknowledge that this council hasn't even had a chance to discuss together what options might be we might be looking at. But we have invested a lot in the past few years in various stormwater upgrades to meet that consent decree. And we are a lot closer, but we do still have to make a little bit more progress next year. So we will have to identify some projects to get us to the percentage that we need to meet next year. So it says on the agenda, these options will be presented to council in 2024. I think we said that a couple times now. We'll be expecting more updates in early 2024.
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Compitello. Communication, recreation, community events, Ms. Bolenbacher.
Thank you. Upcoming community events. This Saturday is our celebration of lights. It'll be in Crafton Park from 4:30 to 6:30. Get pictures with Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the Snow Princess. There'll also be letters to Santa, craft for kids, and a lot more. The Recreation Board will also be holding a holiday food drive at the celebration of lights, and all proceeds will go to the Crafton Ingram Food Pantry, and they are accepting both food and monetary donations. Our holiday house tour is happening Sunday, December 10th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Tickets are $20 in advance. They can be purchased either online at the Borough website or in person at the library and the Blue Snail. Tickets will also be on sale $25 the day of the event. You can purchase those at either the library or Blue Snail, but those are cash only. And lastly, on the day of the event, you will pick up your booklet at the library, and that will tell you where to go. Also, on Saturday, December 16th, starting at 9 a.m., Santa will be going around the neighborhood accompanied by Mrs. Claus. He will be driven around by our volunteer firefighters in the fire truck, so keep an ear out for the siren. It's hard to miss.
All morning.
Yes. So any late sleepers, apologies. I believe Santa's also going to be making his way into Ingram as well as Thornburg, so he'll be hitting us first.
Roslyn Farms.
Roslyn Farms?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to Ingram. I think it's just
apologies.
Roslyn and Thornburg are all
All
he's going to.
Sorry,
The
Ingram.
Ingram kids weren't good.
I'd like to formally apologize
Sam's
to the
gonna
Borough of
call me.
Ingram. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. All right, the newsletter should have hit your mailbox this week. If for some reason it hasn't, we will have a digital option on the Borough website for you to check out, as well as hard copies will be available at the Borough building. Also, in the name of the newsletter, we are considering a change for the newsletter in 2024. There's a company called Hometown Press that does newsletters for a lot of our local municipalities, and we were looking to have them take over ours as well. We do have some examples of their work here. They do more of a magazine layout rather than an actual letter layout. We would just submit the articles and photos that we want to be part of it, and they take care of everything else. We're only responsible financially for postage. And in return, they, like I said, they take care of everything else. They cover their costs and they make their money by selling advertisements that they put in the newsletter. We figured out at the CRCE meeting, at the previous CRCE meeting, that it will save us about $12,000 a year going with this company rather than what we're doing currently. So if anybody has any questions on that, feel free to let me know. Any questions? Like I said, we have some examples going around, so feel free to take a look.
They don't charge anything?
No, just for
They-
postage, because they make money. We give them a list of our vendors and like local businesses, and they make money with advertisements. They sell advertisement slots and they make their money that way. So all we have to pay is postage. That's it.
Would it be all Crafton businesses as advertisers, or do they just go with whatever advertisers they look
Not
for?
all, from my understanding, like they ask us for a list of our local because that's who they gear towards, but I don't think it's exclusively limited to Crafton, correct?
But yes, but we can prevent people from being in it if we so desire, although I'm sure from a solicitor's standpoint, that might get a little difficult, but yeah, we do not, it takes about 3 months to set it up. Because that's the hardest lift for them, is reaching out to the advertisers initially, and getting those people on board. But once they've had that on board, it's usually fairly easy for them to get people to re-up every time. And then we will ask vendors, like we would ask Babston Callan, we would ask Gateway and folks like that to donate, or other firms. So there will be firms that are not necessarily in Crafton, but serve Crafton too, so.
And I just want to piggyback on the no cost, because I thought in one of the communications I was reading that there was a minor printing cost.
It's primarily the postage cost. There is a minor, it amounts to, it might be printing as well. There's some cost, but I think it amounted to 3 or what was it?
600.
I think it was 600.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
600, but
600 per.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
so
the
that's,
postage cost then?
that
not
includes
the
the
print?
that includes postage, and I don't think it's some part of printing, but it's not actually, there was 2 fees. There's one for the
Oh,
postage and
it's
then,
probably doing the mailing.
yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Moving on. The new Crafton logo. We do have a designer working to create a few options. We don't have any updates at the moment. We'll just provide those results when they're available. Our community digital sign at the park. On SharePoint, there is a 1-page policy that Jim created for review, and it basically just states who and what can be posted on the sign. And it's, like I said, it's there for you to take a look at, but just generally speaking, the who would be borough manager and employees, community organizations, and sponsors that can post in conjunction with a community event. And the reason and why, the why is basically we would use the sign to promote municipality sponsored events. We would also promote events by organizations that receive funding from the municipality, and also to inform Crafton residents and businesses about ongoing borough issues or initiatives. And then again, for an example, for the community events by organization, a good example, let me try that again. For community events by organizations that Crafton doesn't fund, we will only post an announcement of the event if it's going to impact something like traffic or something like that. So it's not really that we are advertising the event, we're advertising the effects of the event, if that makes sense. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. And like I said, it's just a 1-page document, and it's on SharePoint for you guys to take a look.
And we will be approving that at our December 14th meeting.
Yeah. Yep. And that's all I have. Thanks.
If it's an event that's not funded by the borough, but is a, community oriented event, would the notice of any potential impacts, like traffic impacts, would that only be the day of the event, or would it be a period in advance?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would assume it would be a case by case basis. If we know for a fact that major streets are going to be closed down, we would want to notify people as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's not spelled out in the policy. We could be more clear about it, but that was the assumption, that if it's coming up in a week and we want to notify people, I think it's probably mostly it will affect, for example, if you have an event at the park, the Rotary does the big, the
Barbecue.
big barbecue. Yeah, the
Llama
Llama Club and the big
Club.
barbecue, which does affect those folks who park there. So we would definitely advertise that event, and they have donated to us too. So we would advertise that event in that case.
And they paid for the sign
Yeah,
itself.
yeah, and they,
So-
true.
Yeah. So it's their sign. Mhm. Yeah. So I'd like to mention that the newsletter, again, that just went to the houses, please make sure you get it. It is online if you didn't receive it, but a lot of work goes into that. And again, another really well done product. So make sure there's a lot to read in it and to keep folks updated. So I do want to acknowledge, Ms. Perry and Ms. Bolenbacher and staff who have worked on that newsletter. Any questions for Ms. Bolenbacher? Okay. Commission vacancy, Mr. Chandler.
Sorry about that. I was having trouble unmuting. Yes, so we currently have a couple of motions on the agenda. I will start with those. Excuse me, I apologize. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to try to do my best here. I have a motion on the table here to reappoint Mary Luxbacher and Pam Pukownik to the Recreation Board, each for 4-year terms starting on January 1st, 2024. Excuse me, and expiring on December 31st of 2027.
Sorry, Colton. There actually, that you have an older draft. The new agenda which was posted yesterday has those separated out. So could you call a motion just for Mary and then call a motion for Pam? We have to vote on them separately.
Yep, I sure can. So my motion, I'm going to make a motion to reappoint Mary Luxbacher to the Recreation Board for a term starting on January 1st of 2024 and expiring on December 31st of 2027.
Second.
For second, Ms. Bolenbacher. Any discussion on Mary for the rec board for an additional 4-year term? I'd like to say, Mary's been involved in the community since she was a teenager or maybe even earlier. And she continues to support a ton of events. I can't even go through them, the Shade Tree to all of the rec board events, to the mini golf, to the sign, the manual sign. So heavily involved in the community and very dedicated to the organization. So reappointing her is really a good thing for the rec board.
Yes, and I will say too, when I did have my meeting with her, we were having some trouble finding some time to do so. But she was actually out, I believe she said, in the Circle Garden, working on that as we were having our meeting. So agreed. That just goes to show her dedication as well.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion does pass.
And then I have a motion to reappoint Pam Pukownik to the Recreation Board for a 4-year term starting on January 1st of 2024 and expiring on December 31st of 2027.
A second.
Ms. Bolenbacher seconds. Discussion. Ms. Pukownik was a short-term one. She was a replacement, so her term, I believe, was less than a year on rec board. So now this is for the full 4-year term. Okay. Any discussion on Ms. Pukownik? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Me.
Very good. So motion passes 6.
Okay, so I have a motion to appoint Tracy Calusi to the Recreation Board for a 4-year term starting on January 1st of 2024 and expiring on December 31st of 2027.
Second.
Ms. Bolenbacher, second. Discussion on Ms. Calusi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And so with that, then, we do have, two current open positions. And that is, and if anybody's interested, please do apply at craftonborough.com/commissions. And the ones that we have left are the Civil Service Commission alternate and a zoning hearing board alternate position as well.
And we do also have another rec board position. We had a resignation of Craig Lakowski, and his term expires February 28th, 2025. So his position is also open. And so we do have 3 openings.
Correct. And thank you for reminding me. We have interviewed one person for that already as well. And we have one more interview we're working to set up as well for that position that just opened up.
Any questions for Mr. Chandler? Okay. Council of Government, Ms. Bolenbacher.
All right, the November meeting did have a speaker. His name was Joe Verducci. He's the VP of Business Banking Services at Brentwood Bank. And he gave a presentation on protecting your money against fraud. So he just gave some examples on what to look out for, how to, tips to take care of it. I do have a printout of the presentation if anybody's interested, because that actually was good information. So I would highly recommend taking a look at it. Other than that, our next meeting is Tuesday, December 21st at 6:30 in Carnegie.
Is there a theme?
Christmas. If you're interested and want to come, bring a grab bag, $25.
Thank you. It's Thursday, December 21st.
Yes, I had the correct date, the wrong day.
Okay, great.
So if anybody would like to join me, let me know.
Mhm. Good. All right, community announcements. So our next council meeting is December 14th. And that we will be starting at 6:30 with a budget workshop, and the council meeting will be at 7:15. Celebration of Lights, Ms. Bolenbacher had gone through that, all the information for that. That is this Saturday, 4:30 to 6:30. Holiday House Tour, Ms. Bolenbacher also went through that, and that is December 10th from 1 to 6. And the last item is the Santa comes to the Crafton by fire truck. And that is Saturday, December 16th. He'll be starting at 9 with also Mrs. Claus and the Crafton Volunteer Fire Department and going to Thornburg and Roslyn Farms. And it is actually one of the oldest Crafton traditions. So it has been going on evidently for a very long period of time. Don't know all the details, but at least 28 years, I guess. Public comment, any other additional comments? Questions? Public comment. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. No. Okay. Anybody on Zoom may raise their hand.
Nope.
Very good. Does anybody else have any additional issues for council? It is 7:54, meeting adjourned.